Hello and welcome to Little Antique Me. My name's Elizabeth and I am here today with another hair tutorial. Today we are going to be doing the rolls and braids with a beret from the Vintage Hair Challenge on Instagram. It is a pretty fun one, and if you haven't followed Marla Van Duda yet on Instagram, you should go check her out. She's pretty awesome. So without further ado, let's move on to the hairstyle. I can't talk today, unfortunately, because I have some sick little ones who are sleeping. So you'll just have to deal with my face, and that's an okay thing, I guess. And here we go, let's move on to the hair. To start, we are going to start with all of our hair down. I prefer to do this style actually with slightly dirty hair. This actually has some hairstyling products left. You are going to need a beret. I like to put mine on with a hat pin, so if you prefer that, I'd grab one of those. You will also need some, wait for it, bobby pins. This will hold your front back. You are going to also want to go ahead and grab some hair ties. I like these tiny little clear plastic ones. You'll want a comb. To start, we are going to start in the front sections, pulling those back. So I basically comb it back with my fingers and just grab the section and then pin it onto the top of my head. The nice thing about this is it will be under the beret, so it doesn't have to be perfect, and you can just kind of pin it however makes sense. Once you have that side done, we're going to move on to the other side. Oh, but first, go ahead and make sure it's all nice and smooth because those will be braided down the back shortly. So for the other side, we are going to do the exact same thing. So this side actually has a little curl left over, so it makes for a fun little swoop in the front, but you wouldn't have to have that. So basically I just pull the section up to the top of my head, maybe give it a little twist to catch my bangs, and then just bobby pin it right into place right there on the top. And again, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because it will be under that hat and nobody will see it, which is the best part. All right, now that you have that done, we are going to work with the back. So to start with that, I take my fingers and I just split the hair into two pieces so that I have two sections. Now, if you have really long hair, you can skip this next part and just go on ahead and braid those two sections. But if you have shorter hair, or even like mine where it's finer, you could use a hair weft to add that length and that fullness. So what I do is I lay it on top of my head to see where I want it. I grab my hat and I put the hat over top of it to make sure that it is going to cover it, and so that you will not see that end of the hair weft. Once I'm positive of that, I hold on to it or I drop it on the floor, which also happens occasionally. Anyway, so I go ahead and lay it on the top of my head, trying not to drop it this time. Oh, hold on. Bangs are falling apart now. Oh my goodness, we're a hot mess. Okay, back to the process. Okay, so we're going to lay this on top of my head. I'm going to bobby pin it in place, making sure that it just kind of holds it where I want it so that it doesn't slide when I braid it. And so what I do is I just take my bobby pins and just catch a little bit of the hair. Once that is bobby pinned, we're going to split that hair into two sections as well and divide them between my regular hair sections, like so. Now we can move on to the fun part. So what I do is I just do a basic 3-strand braid. So I section my hair and the hair weft into 3 even sections, and then I just do a regular 3-strand braid, so one over the other and so on, all the way down to the bottom of my hair. And the one thing I really do make sure is that since my hair is shorter than my hair weft, I really make sure that those ends are twisted into the hair so that they don't stick out funny and make it noticeable that it isn't really my hair, but it keeps it nice and smooth as well. If your hair is long, you don't really have to worry about hiding all those ends in there, which is kind of nice. But you do want to make sure it's a nice smooth braid. So just braid all the way down to your ends. And then you're going to, unfortunately, not be able to see my ends, but I went ahead and finished it off with my hair tie at the very end. Once I have finished with the hair tie, I go ahead and do a little pancaking, so like just kind of fluff the braid up a little bit. If you're using weft like iron, make sure that those ends are nice and tucked in. Next, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next side, which I'm going to fast forward because you've already seen it once. Okay, now we have both braids done, and now for the fun part, we accessorize with our hat. So I like mine kind of tilted off to the side, so it ends up covering that smaller side of my head, or smaller side of my hair. And if you have any strays like this, it's great because the hat will cover a multitude of issues. So I just tuck all those things up, hold my hat where I want it, and go ahead and use my hat pin, trying not to stab my head, and slide it on into the side of my hat and catching hair at the same time to hold that hat in place and so that it doesn't try to fall off. And here you have it. Go ahead and tuck any pieces you don't like. You have the twists and braid with beret, and it's just such a fun little style. The braids I didn't think I'd actually like the first time I did it, but I actually really love the long braids with this look. And so that is that look, but you could also, extra bonus look, if you decided you didn't want the long braids or decided you weren't a big fan, you can take these braids and do a milkmaid style and just lay them up across the top of your head, bobby pinning it to each side, making sure it's nice and secure, tucking down any loose strays. And again, you're putting that hat on so it doesn't have to look perfect under there. Go ahead and tuck the other braid over top and behind it, and bobby pin it in place so that it holds both braids together. And then you're going to take your hat, much like the first time, place it up and over your head, and if you're using that weft, making sure it's covered in the back there, and pin it into place wherever you want it. And again, I used my hat pin, and then just use your bobby pins to lay down any pieces that are sticking up, much like this back section. Just from where I braided it, was not laying quite like I wanted it, so I just pinned them in place. And you have another style using the exact same start, I guess. So 2 styles in one. Thank you so very much for watching and bearing with me while I used my voiceover and just dealing with my face. I really hope you enjoyed it, and may God bless you and keep you this week, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!